building a substantial business means you have to invent some completely novel technology or secure massive venture capital.
Right, like you need millions of dollars on day one.
Exactly. But today's deep dive into a dossier from New Shatter Media totally flips that. It proves you can actually build a highly profitable income engine just by, like, roasting beans or moving community cash.
Yeah, it's a very pragmatic guide. I mean,
Yeah.
it outlines 9 specific business models that have really strong income potential, but need relatively low initial financial investment.
And we're going to use this as a shortcut for you, the listener, to map out the modern entrepreneurial landscape. Because instead of just, reading a list of 9 items to you, we want to look at the underlying architecture of these ideas.
Right, the patterns behind them.
Exactly. The guide essentially splits the board into 2 distinct arenas. On one side, you've got the purely digital plays, so that's digital marketing, e-commerce, software, and app development.
Which is great because the barrier to entry there is literally just a laptop and an internet connection.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the catch with that global reach?
Well, the trade-off is the requirement for high-level technical skills. Like, you are basically trading capital for your own expertise.
Right. And then you contrast that with the other side of the board, which is essential physical services. So the guide lists food businesses, construction, skilled trades like plumbing, and education or tutoring.
Yeah, those serve a constant, unyielding human need.
But the dynamic completely flips, right? Because you don't need to know how to code, but you are facing this intense, hyper-local competition.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, if you open a tutoring center, you aren't fighting a global market. You're fighting the franchise 3 blocks away.
Yeah, but those two arenas don't exist in a vacuum. I mean, the source connects them by showing how urbanization and the explosion of e-commerce are driving huge demand for another category on their list, which is transportation services.
Oh, right, because you need to move the physical goods. Yeah.
Exactly. Whether it's last-mile delivery, logistics, or freight. The totally frictionless digital world still relies entirely on physical movement to actually function.
That makes total sense. And that actually brings us to 2, well, unexpected models in this guide that sit in this fascinating middle ground.
The ones that aren't purely digital or traditional local services.
Yeah. I'm looking at agricultural value addition and mobile money services because agricultural value addition is brilliant. It acts like a toll booth. You aren't paving the highway by buying a farm and taking on the risk of growing crops.
Right, you're not a farmer.
And you aren't the end consumer. You're just capturing value at a necessary bottleneck.
You're taking raw material and processing it to be retail ready. So buying raw beans to sell roasted coffee or bottling local honey, it is just a pure margin play.
And then mobile money operates on a really similar structural logic, but for currency.
Yeah, instead of building a bank, you just act as a local agent for transfers and bill payments.
But the guide emphasizes that this model hinges almost entirely on customer trust. Why does a local agent capture trust better than, like, a centralized bank?
Well, because centralized institutions can be intimidating or inaccessible or just slow, especially in developing or really highly localized markets.
Right.
An independent mobile money agent is usually a neighbor, right?
Yeah.
Or just a known community fixture. They are facilitating the movement of funds in environments where institutional trust might be super low, but interpersonal trust is incredibly high.
Wow. So you grow through transaction volume, but you only get that volume if the neighborhood actually trusts you with their rent money.
Exactly. It's all about relationships.
But even if you perfectly capture that local trust or, successfully package that local honey, the guide makes this massive point. The specific idea you pick from this list won't actually be the thing that dictates your success.
Yeah, that is the core revelation of the source. The, quote, perfect idea matters far less than your mechanics of execution.
Right.
They emphasize solving a real problem,
Yeah.
starting very small, relentlessly reinvesting profits, keeping overhead low, and really mastering sales.
Because when your financial barrier to entry is low,
It's low for everyone else, too.
yeah, so your only real moat is consistency. You just have to outsurvive the competitors who quit after 6 months. But I do want to push back on the low investment framing they use because of that exact point. The source explicitly mentions the need to stay consistent for several years.
Right, which is a lot.
It is. We need to be realistic about what that means for you. The financial investment might be minimal, but low capital simply means you are paying with your time instead. It is a massive multi-year commitment.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is cheap, but the barrier to success is incredibly expensive in terms of daily effort. The mechanics of compounding growth simply demand patience.
So the leap from a decent idea to a profitable business is really paved with reinvestment and just outlasting your competition.
Yeah, so the question you have to ask yourself isn't what is the ultimate business model? It's really what business am I actually willing to execute on day after day when it gets difficult?
Totally. So think about your own daily life and your own environment. If execution matters more than the idea itself, what mundane, everyday frustration are you uniquely positioned to solve consistently for the next 5 years without losing your mind?